Alright, welcome to the first texture breakdown video of the series. And today I'll be going through a texture breakdown on one of the wood textures that I'm using in Unity. So here's my Unity project. This is the world so far. This is going to be the farmland area here. This is the wooded area, the heavily wooded area. This is going to be the cemetery area, and this area back here will be the evil area. So what I have here is my little farmhouse I've created, and oh, that's right. So here's the pod. I talked about it a little bit in my intro video, but so the theory behind the pod, I didn't really talk enough about why I'm actually going to be incorporating a pod. So right now with VR, for people that are new to it, they're getting motion sickness. So basically, to alleviate that, it's a little bit better to create something to anchor the player down in the game world. So the player has something to reference themselves in as they look around. They can see their body. They can see their like there's an obvious vehicle that's propelling them through this game world. So the intent here is to kind of anchor the player into some kind of object that's propelling them through the world. And I'm not really too enthused about the design of this so far. Right now, it looks like a football helmet or something. So that's going to change. This is kind of just a test on just the concept of kind of going through a pod. But I will kind of integrate this a little bit better into the environment that's going to be in. I mean, it's supposed to be a little bit futuristic with this. I don't know. This looks a little hokey, but okay. So that's that. So yeah, I didn't really talk about the pod concept too much, but that's the idea behind the pod. That's why I'm incorporating a pod. And so now we'll just get on to why we're actually here. What I'm doing is creating a wood texture. So I have this kind of farmhouse. It's not complete yet. There's still some leaks, which I actually have finished in Maya, but I haven't imported the finished geometry yet because I'm still working on some trim, and obviously textures for the stucco walls. But right now I'm developing, or I have developed the end pieces for all these rafters here. So obviously you can't use the same texture for the end pieces that you can for the regular. Obviously it needs a whole different look. So as opposed to these, I got these in Disneyland. I create a whole bunch of textures based on photographs that I took at Disney. Unfortunately, with those photographs, I didn't capture the end pieces there. So what I need to do is actually just procedurally create in Substance Designer a texture which will serve as an end piece. So what I have in Photoshop here, this is the original wood texture that I had. Really not so good. Really bad lighting. So to clean that up, I kind of went through, desaturated it completely, created a couple alpha maps, yeah, just plain black and white stuff that I could use for masks. And then I added my own color back in, so that I could kind of fine tune, just exactly the type of color that I wanted. So after I was done with that, I added some grunge and just dirt to kind of give it a little bit more depth. And so now basically I've got a color match, an end piece to go along with that. So here's what I started off with, is just some concentric rings that I made in Photoshop, imported into Substance Designer. And here I have a network of nodes that alter that concentric set of rings. So from here, I have it going into a directional warp, and then being blurred a bit. I inverted it for Actually, my intent was to invert it for an alpha mask, but I didn't end up needing it. And then I just added some grunge maps, something that could look like it would fit as an end piece of wood, and you know, some obvious weathering. So I got some cracks and dirt looking stuff there. Blend node. It looks like I got a problem here, but it actually, even though it's not coming out right, and I'll clean it up before I import it. Actually, the import procedure for this is just going to be a straight bitmap. It's not. I mean, I'm not going to actually use this material in Unity since I've already got the rest of it. I'm just going to use it as a default blend and just output just regular bitmap images from this graph. So here's the rest of the network. Here's a little bit of purlin noise that I laid over the top of it. And that's my final product right here. After everything's said and done, I added a little bit of warping, a mosaic warp, to kind of give it, you know, lessen the uniformity a little bit. I added a mask to get rid of the, you know, the garbage on the outside, and that's it. So now what I'll do from here is output that as a probably PNG to Maya. Match it up in Maya. Well, actually, I'll obviously add color. I'll color match it in Photoshop first, then I'll put that from Photoshop into Maya, and then you know, relay out the UVs as a final product for the rafters, which I use Hedis UV layout for most of my UV mapping. And from there, I'll send it off to Unity. Oh yeah, this is my Maya project. This is kind of a rough assembled version. And here is an exploded view of the same house. So my intent with this is kind of to create a modular set of portions of house that I can use both individually and put together in different ways to kind of create a uniform style, say for a small village or multiple houses, to be genre specific. So these are all, each of these pieces are going to be designed to work together and individually. So that's pretty much what I got there. Obviously not complete yet, but it's coming along.